Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Pollinator Identification Training. My name is Francisco. I work for Butterfly Pavilion and I'm the current Director of Research and Conservation. I have a background of studying bees all throughout my life, almost 15 years of experience. I love them, they're awesome, and I am lucky enough to be narrating for you the introduction for bees. What we will do is talking a little bit about how to recognize bees, and then at the end, I'll let you some links so you can go more in depth onto the different groups of bees. Bees. Bees are a huge group of insects. They belong to the group Anthophila, which means flower lovers. There's around 20,000 species of bees all over the world, and last time I knew, Colorado has around 1,008 species, which are still counting. They primarily feed on pollen and nectar, and their relationship with plants and flowers is huge. And in this picture, we just see that amazing diversity covering bees from all these different colors, shapes, and sizes. Same with the flowers, visiting all these kinds of flowers. Going more into the basic anatomy of bees, bees are insects, which means they have three different body parts. We have a head, we have a thorax, and we have an abdomen. We also have two pairs of wings, so this gives us a total of 4 wings, and they have 6 legs. Very important to know the different names of these legs, because when it comes to identifying bees, it's good to know these different names. And we have the 4 legs at the front, and the hind wings and the hind legs in the back. As the general anatomy for bees, said before, they have 4 membranous wings. It's very hard to tell them apart when they are flying. So if a bee is flying, they're going to be flying really fast. So it's going to be really hard to count the number of wings. So we recommend for you to wait until this bee stops, if it stops, and then just be able to count these wings. Most bees are going to be quite hairy. We do have some exceptions, but the hair is very important. They use all this hair to collect the pollen, and the hair can be located all over the body. Some will have very hairy bodies, some will have very hairy legs, and this is going to be giving you tips into knowing we're talking about a bee. For the case of the eyes, the eyes will be located in the head. They're going to be quite large, and they will be located on the sides of the head. Very important to know is the eyes will be separated. This is going to be a big difference with flies, because in flies, these eyes are going to be next to each other, and they will be next to each other on top of the head. Finally, for the antennae, the bees will have quite long antennae, and this is going to be segmented. Another tip when making the difference with flies, the bees will have quite longer antennae compared to flies that have very, very small antennae. And in terms of size, bees can come in all kinds of sizes. We can have very, very tiny bees, really hard to see, but we can also have big and roundish bees, such as honeybees and bumblebees. In terms of their behavior, most bees that we have in Colorado are solitary. A lot of these bees are also great flyers, which means they're going to be quite fast at flying, and it's going to be a bit hard to identify if we see them flying, unless we see them perching on the flowers when they are foraging. Very unique features about bees that help us separate them from other insects are the hair that they have around their bodies. As mentioned before, bees are going to be quite hairy, and this hair is used to collect the pollen. Within their bodies, they can have hair in the head, in the thorax, or in the abdomen. For the abdomen and the legs, we're going to have a special kind of hair, which is called the scopa. And we can see it here on the pictures on the right. That bee on the top left corner, that's a leafcutter bee, and we can see that most of the pollen is located on the bottom of the abdomen. And this is because that bee has this special hair in that part, which is called the scopa. Very important, pollen most of the time is going to be yellow, but it can also be red, orange, or purple. It can come in very different colors. But when identifying bees, it's very important to see where the pollen is and in which part of the body is mainly being packed, because that's going to be super useful when it comes to identifying the group of bees. Finally, we do have an anatomical part called the corbicula. This is going to be a pollen basket, and it's located in the hind legs of certain bees. These bees will be mainly the honeybees and bumblebees. We can see it in the pictures here on the right. It looks like a big chunk of pollen located on the back of the legs. Just to wrap up, we want to summarize some big differences between bees, wasps, and flies. These groups tend to be sometimes similar in terms of the coloration and the body shape. So we want to give you some good tips to be able to identify them in the field and tell the differences. So bees are gonna be broader in their bodies, and they will not have a skinny waist. In the image on the right, we have a wasp, and wasp will tend to have very narrow waists, and this separation between the abdomen and the thorax is going to be very skinny. In difference with bees and flies, that this might be more similar. An extra difference is going to be with the antennae. So the flies will have very, very short antennae, and bees and wasps will have longer antennae. An extra difference is going to be with the wings. So bees and wasps will have 2 pairs of wings, and flies are going to have 1 pair of wings. And last but not least, we advise to look at the legs. Flies will not have any pollen packing hairs, while bees will have them, and wasps will also not have this hair. Finally, this was just a short introduction to bees. Now we want to send you to please complete the more in-depth identification course of bees, and please reach out to the native bee wedge. We're leaving you the information here on this slide on how to reach out to them and what to do, but they will be walking you through the different groups and all the different identification tips on telling all the different bees apart. So thank you so much for coming here, and now I will pass the word to Alex Han, who will be talking about wasps and how to identify them.